John, obviously at the weekend, an announcement that sent shockwaves around the football world.
Yeah.
Was it the way that the AFL wanted to do it? And I suppose importantly, did the AFL board know that it was coming?
Yeah, two good questions really, Andy. Was it the way they wanted to do it? I'm sure it wasn't, because these discussions have been going on for some considerable time, and they started pre-COVID, and so it was always a remit of the chair because he's in the right position to tackle people, the chair of the FA, the Premier League and the people that count. But was it the way they wanted it to come out? No, because it came out rather quickly on Saturday, I think, and we were all involved pretty much on Sunday. And so looking at the big picture, no, it didn't come out that way, the way it was expected. It's been rushed a bit at the end. All of the clubs are meeting today. We've all had a briefing. Obviously, I was briefed on Sunday. We've all had a briefing, and all of the clubs are meeting today. Probably even now, the Championship's meeting, and then League One this afternoon and League Two this afternoon, and then we meet later on this week to look at finance.
So, in terms of the proposal itself, then the fact that it's come out this way, is it ready? Is it formatted as you wanted it to be?
It's probably not at the level of detail that we probably would have liked to have been at. But look, let's be honest, the situation in the Football League, and if you look at 2 or 3 different aspects of it, first of all, I think it's 2022 to 2024, there are going to be 3 levels of European competition. There's going to be the Champions League, there's going to be the Europa League, and then there's going to be the European Conference. So more clubs are going to be playing in Europe. So that was going to cause a problem to the calendar, initially, to the calendar. So you can understand why you need less in, say, the Premier League, because they're the ones the team's going to be there. And then if you listen to the general public and the fans in particular, they've been saying for years, listen, there's too much money going to players, there's too much money going to agents, the Premier League is spending too much, etc. You listen to the media, you guys, or the television, all the other guys, and they're saying exactly the same. The reason that football can't survive well is there's too much money going to the top and not to the bottom. And then you talk to the clubs, and you're talking to the clubs at the bottom of the pyramid, and I am, and they're just saying exactly the same thing. There's too much money going to the top and not getting down. So this debate had to take place. It was always been a situation where, when we interviewed for chairman, and I was there at all the interviews for chairman, it's a thing that we discussed with everybody that was a candidate. This is the big issue that at some stage in the future we've got to tackle. The public want it tackled, and the fans, the media think it's wrong, the clubs think it's wrong. If English football's going to survive, then we've got to do something to get more to the base of the pyramid to be able to prop up the top end. So this was going to happen, and what's happened with the big picture is it's a bit faster than we would have liked it, but it's now got out to the debate. It'll not end up the way it's proposed at this point in time, but it's a direction of travel that's absolutely vital.
So is this a proposal that Rick brought to that interview? I think it was just over a year ago, wasn't it? Did he bring this big picture out?
No. I mean, he knew that the distribution of wealth, I mean, look, the thing, it isn't something that the Premier League haven't done anything wrong. The Premier League started in 1992, and it's gradually evolved that the money has seeped into the top and not got down. And they've tried to put some down at the bottom, to be fair to them. But it's seeped into the top, and it's gradually evolved that more and more got stuck at the top, and it's ended up in people's pockets, in agents' pockets, and that's what's upset a lot of people. So we've got to get that into the English game, and when it comes through League One and League Two, it's got to get into the grassroots, which is down at the National League and that sort of thing. So, you know, Rick and any other chair was aware of that. But when Rick came in, Rick had 2 priorities. At the time, we had no CEO and we had no chair. His first priority was to get a CEO. And he did that, and damn me if yesterday he didn't leave us as well. So, but he's got another 6 months, and he's done a great job so far. He's got personal circumstances that he's finding it difficult. And I can understand that, but he's done a good job. He's done a good job of leadership. He's done a good job with the executive, and the clubs and the fans like him. So we've got to build on that, and we've got to appoint another new CEO. So.
Having mentioned David just there, John, I might as well ask you that question now, because obviously the accusation will come that the timing of the weekend announcement, David announcing this now, he must have known, the board must have known that him announcing it now wouldn't look great.
Yeah.
But I take it that this isn't connected.
It isn't connected because this has been a discussion that has been having with Rick Parry for some weeks. if after, and let's just take the other bit, the big picture that was pushed onto us on Saturday because of somebody leaking it out. There was a deliberate leak at some stage, at some part of it. I won't go into where we think it happened, but that went out to the Telegraph. The Telegraph started to push timescales, and Sunday the whole thing rattled out. Now, because there was an awareness that Dave was leaving and that he was going to be handing his notice in, if it got into the big picture and the work that we're doing today with the clubs and the debate and what's going to happen in the next 10 days, and then said, oh, by the way, I'm leaving, that would have looked even worse, because that would have said, well, he hasn't even, you know, he's fallen out with them en route. So to state now, by the way, I'm leaving because I decided some weeks ago I was going to leave, it's probably as well to come out yesterday, and then that's kind of done and dusted. He's here for 6 months, as I say, so, you know, he'll play a great part in it.
I've seen it firsthand. David comes into all of our meetings with the communications or marketing or whatever. He's there. He's been interested, genuinely wants to listen. Yeah. You've got a job on to replace him. Big job.
I mean, Sean Harvey was good, to be fair to Sean. And Sean tried to do this, not the big picture. Sean tried to change the way that football finance went. In fact, I've got it on my laptop. It's called Project Genie. Don't let it out the bottle, he said, because we were going to do the distribution model in a different way. In fact, we're going to freeze it at roughly where it is now, which is about 1812 or something like that. That's roughly where we are in Championship, League 1, League 2 now, in total overall distribution. And he was trying to do something. So it isn't something that's new. Everybody knows that this problem needs to be tackled, and if you go back and you ask the fans, and you will do on the website, ask the fans, they'll say, yeah, we've been saying for years this has been wrong. Somebody's needed to tackle it. Let's just hope we can make progress, because the ball's been kicked off. You've pretty much dealt with this, but the other accusation that started to rumble was that this was one man's vision. This is Rick Parry, who's dealt with the Premier League. He's pretty much excluded you and the board. Is that the case, or has this proposal been discussed at board level for a while? Right, I mean, there's, he hasn't, the answer to that is yes and no, because there's not a straight and clear answer to that. All the things that we've been saying at all the board meetings and during his interviews is all kind of rolled up. He knows the way that all the board members feel that we've got to get this thing done. And we also know that he has got the autonomy to go off and talk to the FA and the Premier League, and he doesn't need us, he needs to bring it back. So what started to emerge is not his idea. You've got to remember that Rick was involved with the Premier League, some clubs, and more than just two. He's been inevitably been involved with the FA, whether they say they're going to put the golden share in and say veto it or not. He's been involved with the FA as well. Now, am I right in saying that that veto is only to do with promotion relegation? I think it is. I'm not entirely sure, but it was started in 1992 when they set up the Premier League, that the FA have a veto because it was set up under what was called the tripartite agreement, the FA, which was then the Football League and the Premier League. And it was the, if you remember, it started off as the FA Premier League. And in fact, they dropped the FA part of it, God knows when, but it wasn't many years into it, but it did start off as the FA Premier League. So, yeah, that was all put together at that point. Has this left Rick with uncomfortable questions to be asked and answered by yourselves as a board? Well, yes and no. I mean, look, I was like everybody else, a bit taken aback on Sunday, very taken aback on Sunday, and when I thought, yeah, we've had a great weekend, we beat Port Vale away, I never expected that, and I was actually relaxing watching the Formula One, which I love doing, and I kind of couldn't believe the messages that were coming in, and I spent a long half hour on the phone with the chairman on Sunday night, 9 o'clock at night, and I suppose really from that point onwards I was more fully on the pitch than I'd been up to that point in time. But it didn't surprise me because the direction of things that we've been discussing. So I mean, to say we're looking at it this way, and that was always going to emerge, and whatever emerges now will go back to the clubs, it'll go back to the 20 in the Premier League, and it'll go back to the 72 in the Football League, and the clubs will ultimately decide what they want to do. So it doesn't really matter whose idea and where it comes from. Ultimately it'll be the clubs that'll decide which way we go forward. Your League 2 rep, your 24 clubs, how did they respond on Sunday? Were they angry? I think they were taken aback by the speed of it, because they know we're trying to find rescue packages for them, and they thought that this was probably, it sounds like a good idea. Most of them have been pretty positive, to be honest. Most of them have been pretty positive. But I don't think that this is the short-term rescue package. I think this is more medium and long-term, and that's my personal opinion. I think that the short-term package we've got to get put together before the end of October.